Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's Kiss Down Under race live here on Zwift Community Live. My name is Jesper Anker and I will be your guide for today, guiding you through all the live action as it happens on the screen out on Watopia. Today though, we've got about 59 riders signed up on the start line, ready to kick some tires live right out on the course. Today we're going to be doing 4 laps of the Watopia Hilly course, which is about 36 kilometers with, I believe, 500 meters of altitude all in all. But that one climb, the reason why it's called the Hilly course, that one climb that they'll have to do 4 times in total, that's going to wreak havoc. I believe it's about 800 meters, 900 meters at 5.5% with max gradients up to 7.7%. And the fact that you're actually on a smart trainer sometimes is going to make that hill feel like it's going to go on forever. And that's where we're going to see the decisive attacks being made today. I'm already seeing some familiar names over there to the right, as last Tuesday we covered the Australian E-Crit series powered by Kiss. I see Herfoss, one of the stronger riders on that, or in that race, is signed up on the right side. We'll see what he does on the hills. I also saw Anthony Vegan Porsche is in the race. Gary Elton, or Glenn Elton, is in the... Is it Gary? I think it's Gary Elton. Excuse me, Elton, if I am wrong. I will look it up after the race. Gary Elton also in the race here. So this is the race where the West Division and the East Division of the E-Crit series can ride together and match up, well, you know, together instead of being separated into the 2 divisions on Tuesday. 40 seconds till the flag drops and we can get today's racing underway. I hope wherever you are in the world, whether you're in Europe, Americas, you're in down under Asia, I hope you're having a great day so far. And thank you so much for participating in this live stream, this race, and just being an overall awesome human being. Thank you so much. 20 more seconds and we'll get underway. Today's Kiss race is a mass start, meaning the D's, the C's, the B's, and the A's all start together. Regardless of your category, regardless of your overall strength, you will be riding all together in a bunch. This is of course going to hurt the B's and C's and D's a lot, as the A riders are going to fire off right off the gun. And if this is the first time you're watching a Kiss race, you're about to see why they're talked up as being the premier event on Zwift. Usually right off the gun, we're going to see high wattage of 7-8 watts per kilogram. Well, look at this, there's a new update out on Zwift. How do you like this, guys? It looks like a new update has been launched this morning out on Zwift. You now got the Watching M. Anderson on the top. The group riders nearby list moves dynamically depending on where you are on the course. It also looks like the game runs a tiny bit smoother on my end. So if you're going to be racing maybe Kiss EU tonight or Kiss Americas later today, I recommend you jump on early, download this update, play around with it, because I know there are a few other features in here as well, as we're going to try to catch up with everyone up here. So Andrew Benkin here, he is racing out of the United States of America for Race World Bicycle Relief in the B category, looking good so far. I have to get used to this. Now the name also scrolls if the name is long enough. Take a look at Vegan Porsche. As you see, his name is kind of scrolling back and forth. Usually it used to just abbreviate the name. Now it's actually scrolling left and forth. That is quite exciting if I do say so myself. But here we go. You see that climb up there in the distance? That is the Watopia forward climb. That is the 900 meters at 5.5%. And it's time for the gun to show. Who's got what it takes to make the first and most likely the decisive attack of the race right here, right from the gun? Because when racing this course, the very first time up this hill, you're going to see a massive aberration out on course, and you really want to be in the front, as we've got riders trying to get up near the front. Now we've got M. Walker out of Switzerland already at the front. We've got Vegan Porsche, we've got Roberts, one of the stronger riders from the E-Crit series in the East Division. We got Mr. Elton, we got Maycock further behind in the orange numbers. Also Mr. Herfoss, one of the stronger riders in that East category, as we watched last Tuesday. How will he fare to go uphill, though? That may be a different question. This is definitely not crit racing. This is a road racing at its finest. He's trying to get up there. He is rocking that Volcano Crit jersey, I believe. It could be the Volcano Climb jersey, as it's been changed to. So definitely a capable road cyclist out there, as we've got two riders off the front. Mr. Maycock and Anthony Vegan Porsche have gone off the front with a 2-second gap down to Savatsky, who was the champion, who won Tuesday's Ecrit East Series race with a magnificent display of power right at the finish to pop the power up and then sprint for 500 meters, pretty much uncontested all the way to the finish line. But this is a different beast. Savatsky, though, is sitting in the wheel of Walker, trying to utilize the little draft effect he's got to the top. Speaking of draft effects, we're seeing Mr. Maycock up at the front. I believe that is Anthony popping a draft power up, even though he's got nobody to draft. But the reason he's doing this is as he gets over the top, which he will be doing in a few hundred meters time, then he'll get a new power up. Maybe an arrow, maybe a featherweight, just something different from that drafting power up that he wasn't too happy with. Looking like we got a pack further down, still fairly constrained together as we go over the top here. And it looks like no decisive attack has been made just yet here in the Kiss Down Under races. We got two riders off the front, but it looks like they will be caught by the chasing group of about 10 to 12 people, which is fairly unusual watching hill climbing races. Usually we've got a strong group of like 3 or 4 riders that are really dug in deep, and that is still the case here. But the thing is, the Australian field is just so equally matched that we've actually got a chasing group behind. We've got two groups now. We've got the front group, and then we've got the gruppetto chasing on here now. They've got to make a decision. This gap up here is only going to grow. You have a decision. You stand in front of a crossroad right here. If you are these guys, you either wait for the chasing group behind with several strong riders, or you bridge across to the front group. You've got to make a decision now, though, as that group is only going to go further away, while the group behind is only going to come closer to you. So let's see what they do. Let's keep an eye on them, as they've got a decision to make. Barnett, Walker, Elton currently into top 5 of the Ecrit East Series overall standings. Done really well so far. I do believe he races... No, he's not affiliated with a team. I was thinking of Neil Patlaw, who's racing for Team Aussie Day Hump Ride. At the front now, let's take stock of the riders up here. We got C. Roberts, very, very capable rider, really strong rider, as he showcased last Tuesday. Savatsky got a sprint on him. He climbed over the top. He set it at 7 watts per kilogram. Did really well. We've got S. Blackburn. We got Mr. Maycock. We got Kent. We've got a fellow Dane out here rising nice and early, Mr. Syrup. And then we got Anthony Vegan Porsche. 3 seconds behind, Polly, Elton. And here comes Elton's vast experience. He's trying to kick it up into gears. He's trying to bridge this gap. He has made the decision, and he has to hold in 9 watts per kilogram for another 3 seconds. And look at his heart rate up in the left-hand corner. It is going through the roof, but he has made it. Only time will tell, though, if that was a valid effort, as the riders behind him now are trying to make the same tie. They're trying to make the same move. Look at T. Herfoss here out of Australia. He's got an even further gap. As you've seen the rider, he's left behind, and this is the gap he's got to overcome. This could be a really solid effort on that Trek Madone with the end reveals. He's got another 3 seconds, 5 seconds up there. It looks like he's kicking it down, just catching his breath for a second, and then he's going to use his ramp once again as the riders in front of him are. I would expect to see 4 or 5 watts per kilogram now, as he's going to have to try to bridge that gap up there, because it looks like we have 2 significant groups out on course. We've got the Gruppetto now, and we've got Teta de la Course, the front group of this race. Brilliant race so far. Let's take a look over on the webpage. We see Peter Donahue saying, anybody got sound? There should be sound on right now. Microphone is not muted. Scott Bosman says, crazy pace up the hill. So many sub 150s. I know, man. Incredible. Just anything below 2 minutes, to be honest, is an incredible effort. Nevertheless, going sub 150. So these riders out here, they came to play. It's great to see so many Australians get used to this. In the starting pen, we saw a few Australians say, hey guys, this is my first race on Zwift. What can I expect? Could I get some racing tips? Everyone literally said, this is a KISS race. You've just got to hang on to the wheel in front of you. Do not let go of that chasing wheel. Do not let go of that nice wheel in front of you, because you'll be in a world of hurt if that happens to be the case. It actually looks like T. Herfoss has decided to go back to the group behind him and try to work together with the Gruppetto. 15 seconds up here, though. There's still 3 more ascents of the Watopia forward hilly climb, so nothing is decided yet. If you're in the gruppetto, you just gotta keep digging at it, and maybe you can get that gap close enough that when you get onto that climb, you can attack right up over the top and bridge to this group. Let's take a look over at swiftpower.com to see where everyone is at in their hurt zone, meaning we're going to take a look at their heart rate monitors. We've got Anthony Vegan Porsche, who's hit 182 today so far in his max heart rate. He maxes out at 195. We've got Mr. Walker. He's hit 150, but he maxes out at 219. Mr. Walker, he's going to be a rider to look out for today. If he maxes out at 219 and he's sitting at 150 right now, this Swiss guy, could it be Fabian Cancellara? Could just be reincarnated. I know he said he had something to announce this morning. I'm not so sure what it was, but it'd be interesting to know what it actually was. So if you actually know what Fabian Cancellara wanted to announce this morning, please let me know in the comments section below. C. Roberts maxes out at 194, one of the stronger riders in this bunch. Let's take a look at where he is right now in his heart rate zone. He's also at 150. So that tells us that this group right now, they're doing their best to try and recover and gather their breath, and then they're gonna get ready for next ascent of the Watopia forward climb. Jesper, what is your personal best on the Watopia forward climb? It is a 2:03. I've yet to go sub 2 minutes. Thank you for asking though. Let's go. So many Aussies, says Pete Donahue. Yes, let's go. So, if you're tuning in for the first time and you're watching from down under, my name is Jesper Anker. I will be the face, I'll be the voice of the upcoming Australian winter season here on Zwift. So, I hope we can get used to seeing each other. So if you know anything about the racers out on course, please do let me know, as it makes the broadcast a lot easier for me, as I can share your knowledge, share your wisdom, and we can get to know these riders over the next 3 to 4 months as they're going to be racing out on Zwift. And it's always a pleasure to, be the pioneer, get into that uncharted territory, break the ice. It's always a pleasure as we're getting to know new riders with incredible efforts. And speaking of incredible efforts, if I can find the mouse, take a look at Kent down here. He's trying to bridge a cars. He's trying to get over there on that nice S-Works bike. That could be the tarmac, I believe. And he's trying to get up there at 8.3 watts per kilogram. Solid effort from Kent. Was dropped from the front group. Goes straight by him in the slingshot effect. Barnett quick to react to that though, but it looks like Kent will settle it down for a second. No gaps should be created on this one, even though the heart rates are going to rise a bit because this is an incline. It is an introduction to the S's, which you'll be doing shortly after the top over this climb, but I can assure you, on the final lap, on the final ascent of the forward climb, on the final ascent of the S's, this climb right here will destroy the legs. They've already got so much lactic acid built up in the legs. Once they hit that climb right there that they just did, that leads into the S's, which is like rolling terrain, they're going to be dead. They're going to be wishing for it to be over. They're going to be popping power-ups left, right, and center. And they're going to be like, come on, I just want to get to the finish line. This has been a great race, a great workout, but now I just want it to end. That's how tough this course is, especially when you do it 4 times, 36 kilometers in total. Maycock off the front now, sitting in, rocking that. Is that again, I believe that is the Specialized Roubaix, I think that is. I'm trying to get a closer look. It could be, is Allais? It's Allais, that's what it is. It's Allais. Sorry, my bad. That's what it is. I was trying to get a notice. One of the newer bikes on Zwift. I haven't seen it that often, so still wrapping my head around all the different bikes out there. Just like you see Anthony Vegan Porsche on that Tron bike out there. That's one of the more prettier bikes out there, and also very, very tough to get a hold of, as you have to climb Everest, and you have to go to the moon. You got to go past the moon, out into the stratosphere, and you just got to go up, all the way up. I think it's 50,000 meters of climbing on Zwift for you to unlock that Tron bike. One hell of an achievement if you have the Tron bike to showcase it. So we're coming to the end of the first lap out on course. Is this a new thing? Is that actually... That actually looked new to me. Now, if you're not quite following what I mean here, there was an update on Zwift this morning, adding a bunch of new elements to the game, and I am on the lookout to spot anything that has not been announced yet, any small little Easter eggs. So keep your eyes on the screen. If you see anything that may be of worthy of mentioning, please let me know, as I'm on the lookout for. Let's try and give a ride-on. Is it just me, or is that ride-on button been made bigger? Anyway, let's get Savatsky a ride on to see if that is still the same. Yes, it is. Mr. Savatsky, winner of Tuesday's race in the East E-Crit Series. And if you have not seen that race just yet, you can see the broadcast right here on Zwift Community Live. The final kilometer was brilliant to watch. You didn't know what was going to happen. It was a sprint between about 12 people out on course. Olympic rower Drew Jen being one of them, going underneath that Admiralty Arch is what it's called on the London course. Went under that, popped the aero power up, as we see the rider on the left hand doing as well. Popped that aero power up, went off the front and just dug deep. Is that the disc wheel? Let's see. I think this is Mr. Brown that we're on. Yes, it is. So this disc wheel is very, very rare. There's only one way to obtain the disc wheel, and that is by being a beta tester. So Mr. Brown, racing for Cogs in the KISS A division here, was actually an early beta tester on Zwift. And fun fact, if you were a beta tester and you did get this SIP disc wheel, you actually have an advantage over other racers out on course, as that disc wheel has proven to be the fastest wheel on Zwift, or the fastest wheel set. So it's always a reason for you to race or to get on early on great initiatives like Zwift. Early beta testers being awarded with that disc wheel. And as we approach the forward climb for the second time, I'd just like to mention that I am sick. So if you're wondering why it sounds like I'm underwater using a snorkel to try and breathe and talk, I am still coming. I'm just getting over the man flu. It's slowly leaving out. It's been that for the entire week. So again, I appreciate all the good wishes that you guys have been sending my way, and let's see if we can beat this thing before next week, next Tuesday. Now, forward climb, here we go. We saw strong efforts from some of the lighter climbers last time. We saw Walker up there, we saw Anthony Vegan Porsche, who weighs 59 kilos at the front, and of course, just like real life when you're climbing, the lighter you are, the easier it's going to be. So some of the heavier riders are going to have to produce more watts to stay on top of these small climbers as they go over the top. You got Savatsky here on the left side, though. It looks like that's not a racer. That is Cutlin, who's not actually participating in the race, but it looks like he is on pace to set a new KOM on this climb, out of the saddle all the way up. Even though he's not racing in the KISS Down Under race today, I think that deserves a little applause, because look at that. He is flying up the climb. What is his time going to be? A 135, a 140? As he's coming flying by the riders right behind him. C. Roberts popping the featherweight power up, trying to get to the top as quickly as possible. The group has been thinned out now. Several riders has been dropped. Mr. Disc Wheel 6 seconds behind. Mr. Gary Elton 8 seconds behind. And then behind Roberts here, we've got a chasing group of about 6 people, 7 people working together to try and get over that top as quickly as possible in the same group. But look at Maycock's heart rate. He's up to 192, 193. He's digging at it now. He's trying to not let go of the wheel of any of the riders around him, as several riders are digging deep. Further behind, we got Anthony Vegan Porsche with a power out, it looks like. Maybe he's going to have to contact the neutral service course. Mr. Brown, that Trek Segafredo kit and disc wheel, looks like it could be all over for his dreams today. Mr. Kent, who made his way back over the bridge with 8 watts per kilogram for a solid 45 seconds, is still just barely hanging on to this group and has done well. Now he can settle in and try to just catch up with his breath, as this group is going to working together now to catch back C. Roberts. But C. Roberts is an excellent time trial specialist. We saw that in the East Crit series. Several times he went off the front, trying to attack at 6 watts per kilogram, and I'm fairly certain that he can maintain this effort all the way to the next climb at least. So if you are the chasing group, you've got to work together now. You've got to look around and assess the situation, because C. Roberts, you're seeing him already. He's withholding 5 watts per kilogram. Let's look him up over on Zwift Power and take a look, because we know C. Roberts is a really strong rider. It's Cameron Roberts from Australia. His FTP is 5.51 watts per kilogram. Mr. Roberts can hold 5.5 watts per kilogram for an hour. You do not want to let this man go. His max heart rate is 194. He's at 181 right now, which means he's in that threshold zone, really digging into it as he's trying to stay on top of the game. But maybe he will just be called up by Sada very soon. Again, I do urge you to remember that when you're racing on Zwift, you do open up yourself to verification and validation of your real-life race efforts. Cameron Roberts is yet to be Zwift Anti-Doping Agency approved out there, but that doesn't mean his efforts are nonetheless real. Just saying that if he keeps us up all the way to the finish line, his results may well go down as non-classified, and a winner will go to second place, but that is until he gets in touch with SADA, as they're called, or the KISS administration, and they will work out a Zwift plan on how to verify your efforts. Just to make sure to, we gotta keep the integrity of the racing intact. There's gotta be a certain level of honor amongst thieves, as so to say. As riders out there, you're all believing that the rider next to you is putting out the same sort of effort as you are, and Sada is on the case to verify just that. And Walker, though, has gone off the front already, trying to bridge across to Cameron Roberts. He has seen the efforts he's been putting out at 5 watts per kilogram, and Mr. Walker is trying to get across. He's got 8 seconds up there, though. He caught his breath just over the top as we're on board with him, but it looks like Roberts is all the way down there. It's going to be a difficult task now, as there's mainly flat where you can't really make up that much ground on a great time trialing expert like Cameron Roberts. Let's take a look. Where is he out on course? He is now actually down here by the gas station, and did you know, right on top of there is a squirrel. That's Scotty the squirrel hiding on the gas station. Let's take a look. You see that? The more you know. The more you know. 9 seconds behind now, Walker's got company from Maycock sitting in his wheel. Polly, Blackburn, several riders trying to still work together to catch back up. But it looks like this could be a difficult task as we're watching the A category unfold out on the course. And you're wondering, what is the A category? Well, in Australia, in the UK, in the Americas at least, you've got categories gone from 1 to 4, or maybe even 1 to 5, where 1 is the strongest and 5 is the newest experienced riders to racing in general. Same thing applies to Zwift racing. A is the strongest and D's are newcomers to Zwift racing. The way we distribute the groups is by efforts, by watts per kilogram, by your FTP, your functional threshold power. So if you are a strong rider like Cameron Roberts and you can withstand an effort about 5 watts per kilogram, that will make you an elite A rider out on course. Whereas if you're sitting at about 3 watts per kilogram, like I'm sitting at 3.5 personally myself, which makes me in the middle of the B category. It looks like though Roberts has been joined by Poli and Savatsky and Walker. The entire group is coming back now to Roberts up near the front, maybe choosing wisely to wait up for the group behind and work together, as there's still plenty of climbing to do out on course, as we're almost halfway. We're almost done with 2 laps out of 4 out on the course, and I think the 3rd and the 4th lap up the forward climb will see riders get dropped again and again and again. So far this has turned into an elimination race out on course, as Scott Bossman agrees with me, saying that this group is about to blow up on the hill, which just that happened on the climb. We saw the group go from 15 riders down to 7, down to 8. I think next time we're going to see the same thing. We're going to go from 8 down to 4, and then on the final ascent of the climb, we may go from 4 to 1, 1, 1, 1. Everywhere, everyone on their own. As we go into the Italian village now, we got a front group of 3 riders, Poli, Roberts, and my fellow Danishman, Mr. Syrup. Then we got Walker, Savatsky, Blackburn, Kent, and Maycock has been distanced. Though, can he get back on? His heart rate is at 192 at gain. He's got a bit to work with, but he is in for a world of pain, as he's got 5 seconds to catch up now. He's sitting at 5 watts per kilogram. See, this is where the law of Zwift comes into play. You think that if you just hold 5.5 watts per kilogram, you'll get back up to the group in front of you. But that group, since it's a group, they're going to go so much faster than you. Right now, technically, you're going equal speed. As you can see up in the top left corner, Syrup and Mr. Maycock are technically going the same speed out on course, yet there is a watts per kilo discrepancy of about 3 watts per kilo. So if you're Maycock now, you've gotta dig deep. You gotta go up to 8 watts per kilogram. You've got to sprint to get back on. You're only prolonging your own pain. You gotta get on there. He's so close, popping the drafting power up that he just got under that sprint banner. Come on, Maycock, we're all rooting for you as he gets back on. But now, we're about to go up the S's. We're about to go up to the world of pain again. So he just got back on, but he can't stop there. His heart rate is almost nearing max at 200 beats per minute. He's got to keep digging though. He's got to keep going because this is where it gets tough. This is where the other riders behind him, they've had an easy climb so far. Easy lead into this climb, and he's already going backwards again. We're keeping an eye on Maycock, our fighter, who got all the way up to the group now, and he is in difficulties. Come on, Maycock. Dig deep here, get back over the top. You gotta remember, as much as you're hurting, the rest of the group is hurting equally. You're seeing arrow power-ups being popped left, right, and center. That means that they're hurting as well, man. And it looks like he is getting back onto the group, getting the heart rate down, and he has done just that. Magnificent effort from our Australian out on course today. So taking stock of the front group, we've got Kent, Mr. Maycock, Blackburn, Sarah, Polly, we've got Savatsky, Roberts, and Walkers. So far, looking at the power they put out previously on in Zwift races, we've got Cameron Roberts, who looks to be one of the stronger riders, and most likely to take the victory. But the beauty of cycling is that nothing is determined, nothing is for sure, anything can happen. That is why cycling is so damn awesome. In this group now, they're going to be a bit of respite as they continue over the S's, trying to get that heart rate down again, making sure just not to let go of the wheel in front of you. They're going to go down through the tunnel, they're going to go straight across, and then we're going to climb the Watobia forward climb for the 3rd time today. A great race out on course, great parkour, one of my favorite courses to watch as it's brutal. It's like watching an Ardennes Classic, but right here, right live on Watobia. Okay. Thank you so much, by the way, to all 35 of you watching right now over on the Facebook channel, Zwift Community Live. If you're watching on any of the other feeds like Twitch, I do recommend, though, that you head over to Facebook and you give us a like at Zwift Community Live, as it does help us a bunch trying to grow this community, and we're bringing Zwift Live Racing to you. It's for the community, by the community. So thank you very much for all the continued help, and thank you to all the racers who are putting on a show today, kicking some tires, burning some calories, popping some power-ups. You guys, without you, there'd be no Zwift Racing, and without you, there'd be no Zwift Community Live. So thank you very much. And while we have a doll in the action, we are heading, by the way, to Australia this upcoming May. So if you're interested in showing up to a Zwift party, head down to Go Zwift on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and we'll actually be announcing that again and again and again. So in May, on the 22nd of May to the 26th of May, we're going to come down under. We're going to go to Auckland in New Zealand. We're going to go to Sydney in Australia. And then we're going to finish it off in Melbourne. If you want more information on this, head over to Zwift's Facebook's page where the latest post is actually a post with more information in regards to this trip. So we're going to bring the party down under. If you've not seen a Zwift event before, if you've not been to a Zwift party before, I can tell you it's a lot of fun. So what we do is this climb that you're watching right now, we have 3 stations lined up next to each other, and then head to head versus your friends, you can race up this forward climb and you can have a good time. The fastest time up the climb actually receives 12 months worth of Zwift for free. All you've got to do is for 2 minutes, or 145, 140 for the fastest, you've got to put your head down and you've got to let the legs do the talking. And by the way, once that's done, usually there's food on location. Sometimes there's a bit of, light beverage as well. So more information over on the Facebook page for the upcoming Australian tour if you want to see the entire caravan on tour. Thank you very much for listening, by the way, today, as it's morning over here in the UK, it's evening in Australia, and for those racing from the United States of America, it is like really morning over there. So thank you for spending your hours today watching, racing, and participating in these community events. It means a lot to all of us that are active in the community. So, 3rd time up the climb now. We've got Savatsky, Polly, Kent. We got, as we're actually about to lap the D category riders on course now, so could play a role. I doubt it, but maybe there'll be another draft out there, another rider you can draft. But Here we go. We got Walker, the first one to cross that start line of the Watopia forward climb. On the top, though, here he goes again. Mr. Maycock on the front. We've got Paulie. We've got Roberts. I'm trying to click there. There we go. Roberts in that red kit. Almost looks like the Sigma Sport kit, but has he burned too many matches too early? We know he's got a lot of beats to work with, though. Mr. Walker on the front. Maycock behind him. Savatsky, a great sprinter, rocking that Zwift cartoon kit. Side by side out on course. We've got that Zwift aero bike rocking the Zwift carbon wheels as well from Walker out of Switzerland. Savatsky, Sarah, Roberts, sorry. Paulie and Kent on the back. So far, no separation has been made, but believe it or not, the crucial part of this climb is actually the one coming up right here when you turn left, because it flattens out. And this is where, if you're on a smart trainer, you gotta go down the gears and you quickly gotta make sure you keep up the watts, and then once you hit another gradient, you gotta change down the gears again, and then you gotta keep it up. It's a very crucial point, and you could be fooled. You could be fooled to try and catch your breath, to try and relax. But that's where the gap is cemented. That's where it starts. And then from here on out, it is just a one long time trial. As you can see, all the riders. We've even got Mr. Brown saying, come on, behind him. Just can't hang on. Keep fighting at the back. We've got separation near the front now, though, as Maycock up to 8 watts per kilogram. This is the third ascent of the climb today. We've got 2 left after. We got another one after this. Great effort from Maycock this time around. Let's see behind him, though. Any other riders able to keep up? It looks like it. So, group is still fairly together. And we're seeing Andrew Benker saying, stay right there, Brown. I am coming for you in the B category. As you can see, we've got a big chasing group down here racing on as well out on course. Keeping an eye out, though, on the A category as well at the front. Cameron, Roberts, Walker, Maycock, Sarah, Paulie, Savatsky, Kent, and Blackburn. Looks like the 2 latest guys are just struggling off the back. But once again, we've got Mr. Kent. Is it Superman? Is it a bird? Is it in the sky? No. It's just Mr. Kent as he is kicking up against 7 watts per kilogram. Trying to get back on, as he will succeed in that again. Maycock giving a helping hand, going to the back, and just providing some more shelter for Blackburn to get back on. Rocking that Canberra CC kit, which, if I'm not mistaken, is Matthew Heyman's club down under as well. Rocking that Trek yellow bike with Bontrager wheels, I think that is. Looking great out there, Blackburn. Looking great. See, Quentin Lafay has also joined the group saying, go Vision Cycling, go Dwayne and Alex, all rocking, play it like Vision. Yes, so in the B category, we got Dwayne Grain down here, as Quentin Lafay mentioned, sitting well. Actually, he's in the A category, my bad. He's in the A category, chasing behind, just being dropped from this front group. And then in the C category, we've got the rider most likely to win because he's been on a tear recently, which is our racer from Vision, which is Alex Sushnik, I believe his name is. He has been winning a lot recently in that C category. Perhaps sometime soon we'll see him get a nice little upgrade into the B category as he continues to improve out on course. Again, apologies. I'm still a tiny bit sick. I've been sick since Monday this week. I am on the back end of it, though, so slowly getting rid of it. But when you speak for a living, it is not very good to have a little infection in your throat. I can tell you that. So all that helps is tea, Coke, and some nice pasta. Gotta stay on top of your game, right? Gotta stay on top of your game. So what race you're watching today is the KISS Down Under race, which you can see, you know, up there in the corner. It's the KISS Down Under. And if you're not familiar with KISS is one of the premier organizers of Zwift racing. And why so? It's because it's so simple. KISS stands for Keep It Simple Stupid, and basically anything is allowed. If you want to use your TT bike, you can race the TT bike. If you want to use power-ups, you can use your power-ups. If you want to race with a helmet, you can race with a helmet. If you want to be hipster, you can race without a helmet. Same goes for glasses, gloves, socks. Not shoes. You're forced to wear shoes. But basically, anything is allowed. Have fun. Get out here. You can have as many teammates as you want. All you got to make sure is that the watts you're putting out are the watts you're putting out. And anything else is really up to how the race plays out. As we're about to cross a little Golden Gate mini bridge here in a second. From the front group, still very much collective together as we've got one crest, one ascent of the Watopia forward climb yet to go. 30 minutes out on course. These riders have been giving it their all. The heart rates have been sorry, I'm gonna hit my microphone. They've been peaking, they've been flattening out, they've been peaking, they've been stabilizing, they've been peaking, they've been normalizing. And that is Zwift workouts for you. Zwift racing, for me personally, I believe it's the best workout there is. There is nothing else that will push you as hard as the rider in front of you. You can always aim for, I'm gonna hit 400 watts today for an hour, but if the rider in front of you is going 415 watts, your mind is telling you no, but your body is telling you yes. So that's how that's going to work for you. You got to keep that wheel in front of you, as we're seeing Blackburn sit in the wheel of Mr. Savatsky, who did so great last Tuesday in the East category. We're not seeing so many of the West E-Crit Series racers out here, but that may be due to the time zone, as it's still maybe a bit too early for the West region to be racing the Kiss Down on the race here on Watopia today. So just finishing up the S's, coming down to the finish line, and then one last time they're going to crest that Watopia 4 climb. 900 meters at 5.5%. We're going to see who's got what it takes to win, to be crowned champion, to get that little piece of metal over the top. We're seeing Roberts, best time so far of the day, at 1:44. Maycock second at 1:46. You got Savatsky, several strong times though. Question is though, this time will we see a 1:42, 1:43, seeing them going all out, or will there be a bit of lactic acid in the legs, just slowing them down as they're getting over the top? Going into the Italian village now, all together, let's take a look at the different heart rate zones, as we got Savatsky, actually not wearing a heart rate monitor, may have chucked that since last Tuesday. We've got Walker sitting at 167, we got Maycock at 164, we got Kent not wearing a heart rate monitor either. I'm fairly certain KISS rules, they used to stipulate that in order to win the A category, you need to wear a heart rate monitor. That could have been changed since then. I'm not too certain about it, but for these racers, it's all about the workout they're putting out. See Roberts, Cameron Roberts at 150 as well. So as you can see all around, these racers, they're sitting comfortably in their resting heart rate. Well, not so much resting as you and I, meaning we're sitting here at 60 beats per minute. On their bike, they're in that zone 2, zone 3 heart rate, still going hard at it, but they're not into their anaerobic or, you know, VO2 max or even all the way to the top. So they're still got a few beats to work with as they're resting, as they're spinning the legs, as they just make sure to keep them sharp up here in their mind. As now we go over the bridge, we go up into the S's, and this is where, if you are a guy like Cameron Roberts, who was obviously one of the stronger riders out there with an FTP of 5.5, this is where you can make the difference. This is, oh, we actually, no, we got a puncture, no. Oh, back to, we got Cameron Roberts, went back to, as we speak of the devil, went back to the mechanics, went back to the Shimano neutral car, or was it a Mavic bike? Let's see now, can Cameron Roberts make up the gap on that Cervelo bike with NVIV wheels? But not a good way to start the second to last ascent of this climb of the day, but without too much hassle, he's back on, he adjusts his watts, and he sits back into the group, just like that. Going over the top, it looks like everyone is still keeping their powder, everyone is keeping their powder dry for this one. 6 watts per kilo, yes, it's a lot, but these riders are capable of putting out 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10 when it matters. So they're keeping their powder dry for this ascent of the S's. Going into the S's, Mr. Pauly has gone off the front with a 1 second gap, but the rule of numbers, the law of numbers here will mean that this group will go faster and will catch up to Pauly most likely as they go down the descent and they go over the finish line for the second to last time of the day. We're about to go on to the final lap of today's Kiss Down on the race. If you enjoyed the action so far, please do click that like button below to let us know that everyone is racing well and you're enjoying the effort. And it takes you 2 seconds, but it warms all our hearts here at Zwift Community Live. So thank you very much for spending your evening, afternoon, or even morning right here in our company. As we've got another 10 kilometers to go. In total, the racers will have raced 36 kilometers once they go over that finish line for the final time today. So 36 kilometers in total, 10 kilometers remaining. There's one climb in between these guys and glory. Let's see who's gonna, who's got the tenacity to get over the top, who's got the willpower, who's got the concentration, who's got the composure to stay focused when it matters, not to overpace the climb, not to underpace the climb, not to forget breathing, not to forget the gels, not to forget, the water, staying hydrated, staying on top of your game nutrition-wise. In this group now, though, Sarah on the front again, 1 second, sitting at 150, rocking that almost Danish-looking like kit, the Manchester Cycling Club, I believe this is, but the reason he chose this is because it looks like the Danish kit, I do believe. So we've got a Dane, we've got a Swiss, and in the company of a lot of Australians out here. This will be the battle of Down Under. Let's see who's going to take it. Is it going to be a foreigner, or are these guys going to work together to go over that finish line together? So here we go. Get used to the finish line here, because usually in this race, there's not one rider that really separates himself from the rest on the climb. We come down here, and most of the time, it's a sprint between 2 to 3 riders. They come down this tunnel here. It's a downhill approach to the finish line, and it's all about staying in that second wheel. You want to be drafting the riders in front of you, or you can do the exact opposite and make sure to make the approach as hard as possible. But then you got to be able to hold 5-6 watts per kilogram as you go underneath that tunnel and all the way to the 300-meter mark. And that's where you've got to launch your sprint. That is kind of my specialty on this course. I may not have the strongest FTP, but in this sprint, I'm fairly certain I have mastered it. I have not lost a sprint in like 6 or 7 races. So a bit of bracket out there for you guys. But I'm just saying, if you're listening in right now and you want a bit of Jesper golden nuggets, a way to win that sprint is as soon as you go underneath that tunnel, you kick it up to 5 watts per kilogram. You hold that all the way to the 300-meter mark, and when you get to the 300-meter mark, that's when you give it everything. I tell you, you're going to be tired. You're going to be reaching that max heart rate, but so will the rest of that group. All these riders, they're hoping to approach the finish and only having to sprint for the final 200 meters. But if you make it tough for them, if you make it really demanding, if you can keep it up, or maybe even you've got an aero power up, the riders will most likely even be deterred from even sprinting. So you've even won the game before you won the war by winning the battle. That's how it works out. That's just a bit of a Jesper know your enemy right there. Getting back to the racing at hand, and hope you're listening out there, all the racers out there, to get a bit of tips and tricks as you're racing out of the course. There were a few riders that did mention that this was their first KISS race ever on course, so never hurts to get a bit of help from an experienced racer here and there. So Blackburn, Pauly, Savatsky, Walker, Roberts, Maycock, Syrup, and Kent. Final time up the Watobia forward climb. You get 900 meters at 5%. They've been going up about 1 minute and 40 seconds every time. Let's see who's got something left in the tank. Right here, you're going to be wishing you had a feather power up. Feather or arrow are the 2 power-ups that will give you the biggest advantage going up this climb. As got Kent off the front again. Here comes the featherweight being popped really early for Blackburn. He is spinning to winning right now at 100 RPM as he's sitting at that revolutions per minute though. Savatsky, the solid effort behind him at 7 watts per kilogram. Sarah trying to keep up as well, but Kent once again trying to get up there. And look at that cadence being spun out by Pauly at 600 watts. You can just feel him grinding those gears slowly but surely. You can hear the knees pop as he's trying to get up to the front now, sitting in that wheel, using the most out of that aero power, but there it goes. Now it's just him, the bike, and his watts as he's trying to limit the gap, but he's over the handlebars into the drops at 60 RPM. I know just how well this feels, and it feels horrible as you can't get the cadence any higher, but this is where the advantage of already being in a big gear. He should spin out, keep the watts high, and then bring speed into this as Pauly's trying to stay on Cameron Roberts' wheel. He can see the rider in front of him. His heart rate is through the roof, but Mr. Pauly is just to try and bridge that gap, but it looks like it's insurmountable. He can't get back up there now as Roberts with an attack out of nowhere at 120 revolutions per minute. He has made the difference now, but Savatsky, Walker, Syrup, they're not giving up so easily. They're also doing the equivalent. It looks like Roberts is on a watt bike. The only reason you could really, like, I've seen that before. I've seen it from my Vision teammate of Adam Webb hitting 120 RPM, but that really works on the watt bike. So Roberts, Savatsky, Walker, Syrup. Maybe if Paulie can keep it up over the top. He's spinning there. He's got company as well with Kent and Maycock. It's split in two though now, but we've got a front group of 4 as we've done that for the final time. Roberts at a 1:44 time up the climb. That was, ladies and gentlemen, our final ascent of the Watopia Hilly climb. Great to race, great to watch, a pleasure to watch these guys duke it out on course. But they've got to make sure to stay in this now. We've got Roberts out the front at 10 seconds up near the front as something is happening on course. Not so sure what's happening there. We'll go back to Savatsky, but Roberts 8 seconds up the front, 7 seconds, 6 seconds at 5 watts per kilogram. But again, this group seems to be really strong and determined to catch back up to Roberts, but they cannot rest on their laurels. They got to keep working, because as soon as that goes back out to 10 seconds again, that could mean that Mr. Cameron Roberts has gone. Again, let's take a look at the efforts he's put out so far out on course, as they have all been really digging deep at it. And it looks like out on course so far, Cameron Roberts has been averaging 4.7 watts per kilogram, Walker 4.3, Syrup has been playing it smart at 3.8, we've got Savatsky at 4.3, Ken at 4.4, Paulie at 4.3. Mr. Cameron Roberts weighs in a solid 64 kilograms, so it does make sense that he's gone really strong in this race so far. It has just been confirmed by Quentin LaFay in the chat that in order to be able to win the KISS races, you do need to wear a heart rate monitor. So there may not be rules, but there are some guidelines. And in order to win the race, you do need to be wearing a heart rate monitor. So if, let's say, Savatsky were to come over that finish line first, it would not count officially, as he is not wearing a heart rate monitor. But I'm sure for him, it doesn't really matter, as the effort that he's putting out here is more than enough. Walker, Syrup, Paulie, Maycock. This is going to come all back together. It looks like Blackburn has been dropped off the back. Roberts, though, out to 20 seconds, 21 seconds. And it looks like it is sayonara. It is a good night, goodbye to all his mates down under, as Cameron Roberts looks like he's going to go all the way to the finish line alone. It looked pretty certain at different points here, as he was definitely the strongest in the race. As we got 5 kilometers yet to go in today's Kiss Down on the race. Technically, it's not decided yet with 14 seconds in between them, but it's going to be difficult, as we know Roberts is a strong rider out there, and this group looks more determined to look at each other instead of looking forward at Mr. Roberts, who is slowly digging away at 5.5 watts per kilogram, really showcasing his power. But this group has been joined by Paulie and Maycock. Maybe that can be the saving grace, as now they're up to 5 riders, and Sarah Pups that drafting boost to try and sit in now. But with 5 riders in this group, they should be taking turns, they should be working together, and they should be trying to reel back in Roberts. But it could be that they're playing to get that second spot on the podium, as maybe that first spot is just a tiny bit out of reach. For the final time today, we're going to go over the climb, we're going to go into the S's, and then we're going to hit the sprint. Knowing in the sprint, though, we know that Savatsky's got a solid sprint. I know that Paulie looks to be fairly certain he's got another sprint, because if you can grind up the Watopia 4 climb like that, then you have a sprint on you. The only way you can ever get up that and survive is if you've got the power to actually put out even more in a sprint. So I would look out for Paulie, I'll look out for Savatsky in this heads-up sprint for second place currently, but it's not quite over yet, as we got Roberts near the front, so we can see all those ride-ons in his back pocket, weighing in at 64 kilograms, definitely to his benefit today, as he's rocking at 38 kilometers an hour, 350 watts at 181 beats per minute. We've seen him in the East Crit Series, where he's been really strong, and here he's going to take the victory, looks like. But 12 seconds now, not too early, not too soon, Jesper. Just hang on for a moment here. The train has not left the station just yet. There's still several tickets left for sale, it looks like, at Savatsky. 6 watts per kilogram. He will not get up. He is determined to get back on par with Cameron Roberts. 12 seconds up near the front, and it looks like that little attack put my Dane into difficulty, with Sarah being 2 seconds behind, now 1 second behind, trying to get back up there. He's played it smart so far. He's been on the back, he's been drafting, he's the one that's been utilizing the least amount of energy so far in the entire front group. But that doesn't really matter much when you've got Mr. Cameron Roberts out near the front. 17 seconds, going down into the Italian village, over the climb, into the S's, down the tunnel, and then over the finish line. We'll see what's going to happen now. We'll keep an eye on it. It's getting quite tense in here now, though, because 17 seconds, one attack up the S's, one big sprint with an air power up from a rider with 17, 19 watts per kilo. That could actually they could actually get back onto the group now, as it looks like they found some cooperation in this group. They're working together, they're taking turns, they're looking forward, and they're saying, you know what, it's time we try to put in a valid effort and try to get back up to Mr. Roberts on the front. Maycock, the one in charge, sitting at 3 watts per kilogram. Again, slowing it down. Everyone tired. 47 minutes on the bike. 400 meters of climbing, and they're 34 kilometers into the race. About 2.5 kilometers left. The riders, they're going to be feeling the lactic acid. They're going to be feeling the dehydration. They're just going to be fairly bummed out that Mr. Roberts attacked away and has gotten a gap, because they played everything so well, they just didn't account for this superhuman specimen to be a part of the race, as he's now going to enter the S's for the final time with a 22-second gap. So we're going to watch him get up this, but nonetheless, he's got to dig deep now. 2 kilometers left for him. He's got to kick it out to 6-7 watts per kilogram, because you know the riders behind him are going to do the exact same when they're going to hit this climb. So he's sitting at 5.5. This means that the group behind him is most likely going to catch 5 to 6 seconds when they get up on this climb. But will 5 to 6 seconds be enough to ignite that spark further behind and make sure that they catch back out on course? Because here they go. You see that 9 watts per kilogram from Maycock, 17 seconds, 16 seconds. Savatsky, 10 watts per kilogram. This is what I was talking about. They're going to gradually just decrease the gap up to Cameron Roberts now, as they're going to be fighting to try and get away from all the other contenders in this group. 18 seconds. Savatsky trying to close the gap to Maycock, but he's doing a great job at continuing that effort over the top. Sarah on the wheel, Paulie on the wheel, but Paulie is being distanced. Can Mr. Paulie get back onto that group? We're going on board with our GoPro footage, and you can see the front group is right up there. 3, 4, 5 seconds, and it is the count. It is a technical knockout for Mr. Paulie. There is no way getting back to him, and it looks like C. Roberts is going to take the victory today in Kiss Down Under. A valid effort, a valiant race all around. As Ace Serup again does not want it to come down to a sprint. He's been the one saving energy going around on the course today, and now he's igniting every single match he's got in his matchbook, and he is ready to light a fire on this race. He does not want to sprint, but Walker and Savatsky both attentive to the task at hand, and Maycock as well. It's going to come down to a heads-up sprint in the second place, for the second place in the A category. Walker, Savatsky, Arab, and Mr. Maycock on the front now. We're going to see who's got the best sprint, as Cameron Roberts is going to win the race further ahead. Well done to him. He's deserved it. 5.5 watts per kilogram. He will be hearing from the Zwift Anti-Doping Agency very soon, I imagine. We're going to keep an eye here now on the second place finish, as I do love my sprints, and there's so much tactic and strategy going into this, that one small mistake, it's a game of micro decisions that lead into the macro game. So one small decision can spell the end of your sprint. It can basically mean that you're not going to be able to win the sprint because you just got one positioning wrong, you got one pedal stroke wrong. That is how fine sprinting goes. Going under the tunnel. We're going back on to Maycock, who's sitting third wheel. We got Serup in fourth wheel. Let's see who's going to be the first ones to launch that final sprint. Who's got the aero power up? Who's got the feather? Who's got drafting? Who was so unlucky to get experience? It's going to come down to this now. Kiss Down Under. First one to launch the sprint is Mr. Savatsky. He did win the race last Tuesday in similar fashion, popping that aero power up and going early, but can they catch up to him? He's holding 12 watts per kilogram with 300 meters to go now. 250, 220, 210. Here comes Savatsky, and it looks like he's going to take that second place on the podium. But the fight for the third spot, it's a head-out sprint. Serup, Walker, Serup, Walker. It's going to come back down to the line, and it's going to be Walker right on the line, etching out the fellow Dane. What a race right here in the Kiss Down Under. Let's try and go further back. Mr. Paulie did have a sprint as I imagined out there, so well done to Paulie, finishing further down. Now, we're gonna watch as the next group of races, I believe, finish, and then we're gonna head out. So thank you very much for watching. I just want to catch the end of the A category because we have a few riders in here. We got these are the riders. Once these riders finish, we're gonna end up the broadcast. We're gonna wrap it up. So thank you very much for watching today. And if you enjoyed the broadcast, if you enjoyed the efforts, make sure to click that like button, or even if you're watching on Twitch, give us a follow as we'll be broadcasting many more races in the future. Dwayne Grain from Vision out of the United States, up nice and early. He's got Elton on his wheel, another strong rider. It looks like also Calejo in here, and we know Calejo has got a sprint. Mr. Calejo saw that in the Zwift World Championships, racing for KRT. This man, when it comes down to it, he can say arriba, arriba. He's going to go for the sprint. He's going to go for a long one there for a second. Up to 5 watts per kilogram. Mr. Brown has found himself confidence in this group, it looks like. Rocking that disc wheel and Trek kit. Did mention a bit of this concern earlier about how the race was handled out, as he's not happy with himself, but we'll see if he can throw down some serious watts right here in the finish line. We're on board with Mr. Calejo now, sitting on the wheel, getting around Gadella, and now who's the first one to launch the final sprint? 350 meters to go on the left side. We're seeing an aero power-up being popped on the right side from Mr. Brown as well. Aero power-ups all around! That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 aero power-ups, turtle shells. Who's gonna go for this one? We got Mr. Brown on the front, in the middle, we've got everyone. Elton Perry, who's gonna take this one? Perry on the front is gonna be side by side, but it looks like Elton is gonna take the first one and the second place Perry. Oh my goodness, that was fireworks all the way to the finish line. Great racing to everybody. Thank you so much for watching today's broadcast. My name has been Jesper Anker. That has been it for the Kiss Down Under race. If you enjoyed watching this, make sure to click that like button. We're coming, by the way, down under later this month, so stay tuned for more information about that. As always, you rock.